Hello everyone, once more, Keta Kosman, publisher of Madison's Lumber Reporter, the premier source for all things North America, softwood lumber, panel, plywood, OSB prices that we publish every Friday for our subscribers. If you want to be able to do that, just go onto my website, madisonsreport.com, at the top across the menu, and fill out a order form under the subscribe link to get a sample of the full 450 individual lumber and panel prices, and to order the lumber price updates, or the BC Coast log prices comes out once a month. Wood pellet prices also once a month. Some other products that we do right there on my website. So here we are in the middle of June. Everybody's asking and wants to know what is happening with the lumber prices. Well, it's what everyone's been waiting for since a year ago. Prices are down. Don't look at futures. I don't really talk about futures. That's something everyone can see, but it's extremely volatile. And, you know, when people ask me, I just say the most important thing about futures is really just when the contract closes. So the May contract closed on May 15th. By then, everyone was trading into July. Closes July 15th. By now, everyone's trading September. So be mindful, watch the volumes, you'll see where the activity is, and it's very tricky territory. Regardless, so for cash, print, the wholesaler price that the sawmills sell for, and that the wholesalers, the retailers, the large home builders buy for, corrected down quite a bit last week. So what ended up happening was, for 2 or 3 weeks there, so we had long weekend in Canada is Victoria Day, May 24th. Then the following weekend is a long weekend in the US for Memorial Day. And this little bit of a buffer usually lets us know post-buying season, because the large volume customers usually buy the middle end of May, have already made all their purchases, or at least ordered all their wood that they expect to use, you know, through the summer. We can usually tell around that time what's happening with the market. If things are still really strong, prices are up, or even still flat, means there's some more volatility or activity to come in the next few weeks. Well, this year was pretty normal, where things kind of stalled, where the supply-demand balance between the customers and the sellers was at quite an equilibrium, and the buyers chose to wait. They did not book orders and wanted to see what would happen if prices would go down in the next week or the week after. For their part, the sawmills, they didn't really need to lower the price, because they had these very strong order files. As I've been explaining over time in these different videos, a sawmill order file means if you call a sawmill today and ask for some wood, it won't even get put on the production line for a couple of weeks. So the sawmill order is into 2 weeks, and then you're not even going to receive your wood for like 3 weeks after that. So you kind of need to calculate, what is your inventory, where's your inventory at, what are your expectations, and given this sort of 5-week or longer lag between when you order and when you receive, can you wait that long? What happens to the price? You know, my goodness, what if it goes up? So the equilibrium between the customers and the sellers stayed flat for 2 or 3 weeks there, and then just last week, the week of June 10th, prices went down a lot, about 20% for almost everything. So the benchmark, which I keep referring to, Western Spruce Pine Fir 2x4 number 2 and better, which is the largest volume produced and the largest volume sold, goes a lot into US housing, fell from $1,600 per thousand board feet to $1,275 per thousand board feet. So I mean, it's down, but it's still super high, right? Like I've been saying, when the past 10 years of the US being underbuilt, not building enough homes to serve its population, the price of these 2x4s was somewhere between $250 $300. For the large producing mills here in British Columbia, the modernized high volume, break even is about $225. So the drop to $1,275 is still really high compared to normal. If you look at my previous video that I just put on about the lumber production in Canada, US, and the rail car loadings, you start to see kind of what's happening with the inventories, both at the sawmills, you know, the sellers, and at the customers, in this long time that it's taken to receive the wood that they've desperately been ordering, you know, for one entire year. So let's have a look at the graphs of the latest lumber prices so you can see where it is right now. Who knows what's going to happen? It's a very unusual time, so we're not going to predict anything for the coming weeks, but these graphs will tell you a lot about the existing situation. Okay, so the most exciting graph showing you that benchmark Western Spruce Pine Fir 2x4 price that I talk about so often. The blue line is this year. You can see, as I was saying, how it leveled off over the past few weeks as the customer and the supplier were wrangling over whether the price should go up or down. And it went down this past week from $1,600 per 1,000 board feet to $1,275. That's a decrease of like $325 or approximately 20%. We don't know, if you look at the yellow line and you see there in October how the price fell but then came back up, we don't know if there's going to be a similar trend or if that is going to show different movement over the coming weeks and months. Here's those 6 standard benchmark lumber and panel prices that I talk about all the time, showing you, you know, down a lot. That plywood price on the bottom, there's a problem with plywood. There you can see the plywood price is the blue line that at the end of the graph did not go down because there's a problem with the resin that the sawmill, that the plywood and OSB mills use to glue their product together, taking a long time to arrive from China. It's pushing the OSB mill order file to August, and the plywood mill order file is out to October. So again, those prices have no reason to go down. If I'm not even going to produce it until October, I don't know what the price is going to be then. We'll have to see, wait, and find out. Exactly in the middle of June, U.S. housing starts for May came out today, so that's going to be my next video. So like I said, it's not possible to know what's going to happen. People ask me, when is the price going to go down? How much is it going to go down by? Where is it going to come out to? We don't know. Nobody knows. There has been a significant amount of production booked to come back online. It takes a while to ramp up a sawmill, to take a sawmill out of curtailment, or to restart a sawmill that's been closed. So these announcements that you're seeing of these companies, mostly in the US South, some in the US West, I think there was one in Quebec, that the mills are going to either ramp up or open. It takes 2 years to open a mill that's been closed. So there's a lot of things, you know, from equipment to getting workers on, getting your logs, right? Like, you don't just go in the forest and pick up a log and start running the next day. I mean, it's a process, right? However, the fact that it's even happening, that these mills that have been closed, some of them for a while, are restarting, means that the sawmill companies know we're in for a longer term demand upcycle. So this situation with the U.S. housing, the demand for lumber, and the reduction of the timber supply right here in British Columbia because of the mountain pine beetle is not just for this month or for last year. Expectations are that this strong demand is going to stay until the end of next year, 2022. Does that mean the price is going to stay at $1,200? We don't know. Nobody knows. You know, the more volumes that come on, The building season starts to slow down toward Labor Day, and then after that, all of these things, they change the balance. There are some issues that could happen this year. It's a very extreme drought in the south and in the west. The fires that we saw last year could happen again this year. A lot of the fires last year were not in the timber supply basket. They were in parks, but it creates a perception of threat to supply. And even if the fire is not in a timber supply area, if it's next to it or, close by, there's a fire ban and you can't bring, there's no logging. You can't bring trucks and you can't bring heavy equipment into the forest. The other thing that could make an issue with lumber buying is storms. It looks like somewhat of a severe storm season in the U.S. South this year. That means plywood, boarding up the windows first and then re-roofing after that. So these two things could push lumber prices staying strong through the summer. If it doesn't happen and we have mild weather situations, then maybe prices will soften into Labor Day as they normally do during the seasonal cycle. Nobody knows. Check back often because I'll be here to tell you.